Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Catholic Citizen, where week in and week out we look at the news from a Catholic perspective. I'm your host, Peter Range. I'm Senior Fellow for the Center for Christian Virtue, and what a joy it is to be with you today as we talk about President Trump, his address to Congress just the other night, the new National Institute of Health Director, or should be very soon, and then from Monsignor Shea, an uplifting message about how your witness can change the world in just a minute here on the Catholic Citizen. All right, friends. Nick said he has a flight to catch to Miami, so we will make this show short and sweet for you. First and foremost, President Trump's speech to Congress earlier this week. What I loved about it, his honoring of some of America's heroes, including that 13-year-old boy who had brain cancer. I think he had 6 different surgeries. His hug of the Secret Service agent, just pure joy right there. Absolutely love that. The fact that Laken Riley was being honored, her family as well, after President Biden really refused to do anything about the border. And when innocent victims like Laken lost their lives due to illegal immigration. Look, I'm as pro-immigration as anybody in the country, worked with immigrants in Southwest Florida. However, just truly saddened that we have just an open border policy until President Trump came in. And here's the point here. The line where he said, this is the third thing I really liked about the speech, but the Democrats were talking about before the election that we need new legislation to protect the border and everything. And President Trump came up and says, it turns out we just needed a new president. Folks, the number of migrants, this is according to Axios, which is not exactly a conservative site, but the number of migrants illegally crossing the U.S. southern border plummeted in February to the lowest level it's been seen in decades. Border Patrol recorded around 8,300 apprehensions of migrants who crossed the border in February. That's down 94% from last February and down 96% from the all-time high of the Biden administration. It's absolutely ridiculous that the Democrats were saying that you needed new legislation to fix the immigration crisis. No, you simply needed a new president. Thank you, President Trump. Again, we need to find ways where we can help immigrants come to this country, but keeping an open border is not one of them. All right. The other thing I really liked what he said on the transgender issue is and his message directly to Americans' kids. My message to every child in America is that you are perfect the way that God made you. What a wonderful, terrific, amazing, and perfect message to our young people. They don't have to lop off body parts to be accepted or to be loved. They can be simply who they are. Now, what I didn't love about it, I didn't love that the Democrats are just refusing to stand and clap for even just cancer victims. Look, I get it. You don't like Trump. You don't have to clap for his different parts of his speech. It's fine. But show some just common decency and stand for those individuals who are in the gallery, who are American citizens, who have overcome tremendous odds. Now, the other thing, and putting politics completely aside, I do struggle to watch President Trump at times. He's not the greatest orator. Barack Obama was a great orator. You could watch him talk. Thankfully, his policies are not in the White House right now, so I'll take the policies over the oration, but it is painful sometimes. Anyway, all right, second from Life News, Trump's nominee to head the National Institute of Health, and I'm going to botch his name, but Dr. J. Bhattacharya told senators that the National Institute of Health would not use aborted baby parts in their research. He was questioned by Senator Josh Hawley whether or not they would continue using aborted fetal research. And Bhattacharya said, look, he's absolutely committed to not using research with organs from aborted children. He said, quote, in public health, we need to make sure the products of science are ethically acceptable to everybody. He went on to talk about, he was on Catholic radio shows, and a lot of people weren't taking the COVID vaccine because they came from aborted fetal cell lines. So he says, quote, and so having alternatives that are not ethically conflicted with fetal cell lines, it's not just an ethical issue, but it's a public health issue because we want people to be able to take the vaccines that might be good for people. But he was a heavy critic of the COVID vaccine and everything kind of going on. So appreciative of his answer on that. As someone who tried to communicate to Catholic officials about the vaccines, and maybe we should be more concerned about the fact that they came from aborted fetal cell lines, I was kind of tossed aside because the main emphasis, even from Catholic officials at the time, was we got to get people to take the vaccine. And even from Pope Francis, is this is an act of love to do this. But we should not toss out people's conscientious objections to taking a vaccine that comes from aborted fetal cell lines. So thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. I hope you're confirmed quickly as a new leader of the National Institute of Health. All right, third, the difference a pro-life administration makes. President Donald Trump has just dropped a lawsuit Joe Biden filed attempting to force Idaho to allow for abortion. So Idaho's Defense of Life Act protects the lives of women and their unborn children, preventing doctors from performing abortions unless necessary to save the life of the mother in cases of rape or incest. In August of 2022, the Biden-Harris administration sued Idaho, claiming that it could use the Federal Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act, EMTALA, to force hospitals to kill babies in elective abortions. That's right. President Biden at the time was trying to force hospitals to perform abortions. Idaho fought back in court, but now the Trump administration has canceled the lawsuit. Again, the difference that a pro-life administration can make. All right, number 4, the work of Doge. President Donald Trump has been highlighting some of this. Of course, Elon Musk has been as well. And then they're taking heat for some of the work that they're doing. But folks, some of the work that they're doing is really important. Some of the stuff that they stopped that was coming from the Biden administration and their former National Institute of Health was for making mice transgender. That's right. We were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to help make mice transgender. So $455,000 for a mouse model to test the effects of gender affirming hormone therapy on HIV vaccine induced immune responses. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. $735,000 on mediated effects of gender affirming hormone therapy in mice. This is disgusting. Why are we trying to transition mice of all things? The total savings come to $8 million. I know that's a drop in the bucket when it comes to the federal government. But look, these aren't my taxpayer dollars. They are your taxpayer dollars that you are sending to fund the transitioning of mice. You're sending to fund tests that were done on aborted fetal cells, aborted fetuses, who many of whom, if you've read any of the research on, getting these livers that they test on or different body parts, they have to take them from babies who are immediately aborted. And from the testimony of doctors themselves, they have to be as alive as possible. Like we're talking right out of the womb when they're taking these body parts of kids. And praise God, some of that's going to stop. All right. That's a difference a pro-life administration can make. Again, you might not like President Trump's tweets. You might not like the way that he speaks. I'll raise my hand for that. You may not like his harshness of tones, but these are the differences he's making for the culture of life. All right, number 5. Last story for today. Monsignor James Shea shared this the other day. You can find it on National Register's Twitter's account. But he was talking about, I think it was a year ago, he was flying on a plane. It was on Ash Wednesday. Of course, he had ashes on his forehead and everything. But a stewardess comes up to him and she's crying. She's like, I miss Mass on Ash Wednesday. Now, folks, Ash Wednesday is actually not a holy day of obligation. However, it's one of the most attended church days of the year for Catholics because of the visible sign I think you get on your forehead and the public witness that makes. It's a reminder of the fact that we are dust and to dust we shall return. But Father James, so he gave ashes to the stewardess that came back, who was sad that she missed daily Mass. And then nearly half the plane came back and kneeled down and received ashes from Monsignor Shea because of the witness of that one stewardess. Not only half the plane, but also a pilot came back and received ashes. And Monsignor Shea's, kind of message about this is that our hope, it's latent right now. Latent by meaning it's dormant, it's concealed, it's buried in people today because we live in such an overwhelmingly secular culture, which says leave your faith to the private, keep that at your house, or don't even, as we covered last week, don't even pray in your house if you're close to an abortion facility, because in Scotland you could be arrested for that. Um, so that hope, it can be a it can be awakened. And that's what we're trying to do at Awaken Catholics, what we're trying to do through the Catholic Citizen. So visit us at thecatholicitizen.com. Become a patron to the show. You get to join the after show as well, where Nick and I talk about different topics. But thecatholicitizen.com to be a part of the show. But our faith, which does lay latent and dormant and really is many ways buried in this country, it can be activated by our witness, by our yes to life, by putting the ashes on our forehead, but more than that, praying in meetings. Even if you work at a government office or a secular company, say, can we start this meeting with prayer? What's going to happen? Well, the worst that can happen is maybe ultimately you would be fired for bringing faith in the workplace. Blessed be God. God will provide for you. But for too long, we've left our faith on the sidelines, and we can see the detrimental impact that the culture is having on our faith and our church and just church attendance. Folks, for every 100 people that are coming into the church, 1,700 are leaving. We've got to do something different, and it starts with you and I. So be a witness, be a light, share your faith in the public square, and be the best Catholic citizen you can be. All right, we'll talk to you next week on The Catholic Citizen. Visit us again, become a patron of The Catholic Citizen. All right.
I'm so sorry, Pete. We're still alive. At this point, let's just own it. That was hilarious. There's a weird lag when I press play on the video. I don't know why that happens, but great
I
job
don't
today,
I don't know
Pete.
who's running the show around here, but we no,
I
thanks,
just want
Nick.
to
Appreciate
say,
it.
you know what? If you want to support us having better technology where that doesn't lag when we start the video, also give it up for Pete. If you want to give Pete, like, buy him a coffee, support what he's doing here, be a part of this movement, thecatholicitizen.com. All right. You want to give us a final farewell without the video, Pete?
Help us hire somebody else to run the video. TheCatholicCitizen.com.